Alright guys, the largest company in the world, Nvidia, just reported their earnings and it was an absolute beat. Now, everyone is focusing on their numbers, but there is a much more important thing that Jensen Huang said, Agentic AI. Now, what did he mean by that? So in this video, I'm going to break down everything that you need to know about their latest earnings, as well as the new era of AI that Jensen Huang was talking about. Now, when you look at their earnings, what does it say? It basically shows total immunity to the AI bubble fears that we've seen people talking about for many months. As what Nvidia does is they are actually cashing in all the data center boom. As you know, every single company in the world, one way or the other, is adopting AI to their infrastructure. And what does AI need? It needs graphics processing unit, which is GPU, and Nvidia is the only one in the market that has 90% of the market share to fulfill that demand. And when you look at the numbers, right, everything is expected. In fact, I would say that none of the numbers, right, people didn't expect them to not beat. So every single metric, it was expected for them to beat and did even higher than what the market was expecting. So example, if you look at the revenue, 68 billion as compared to 65 billion. EPS was a beautiful beat, and data center was a beautiful beat as well, including not just their numbers but their forward guidance. So you can see for their Q1 guidance, they are expecting for about 76 to 79 billion out of a 72 billion expected. So this was what the market was looking at for their results. It was an incredibly strong monster quarter. And one thing to note is that this guidance that you see actually do not assume any data center revenue from China. It is totally out. They are assuming that there will be no revenue from China. But this news actually just came out a few hours ago, which is they finally got the US license for a small number of accounts to export their H200 chips to China. So even though they got the approval, the company has not generated any revenue yet. Okay, now so imagine this: they are forecasting this expected guidance in Q1 of close to 80 billion, and it's not including China revenue. Okay, and now with this license, this will just be a potential add-on or more revenue. So you can see in one way, they are becoming a little bit conservative with what they are forecasting the results, even though it was a clear beat. So, but you can see that now with the Chinese market, it's a huge market for them as well. Now with this license, right, it can potentially mean that their Q1 revenue will be even higher than what they have guided. So it's like higher than expected, and now if China comes in, it's going to be higher than expected. So this is what we saw for the results. But there was a thing that Jensen Huang said inside, which is way more important than all this guidance that he says, because what he says next, it shows the level of demand for Nvidia chips ahead, which was this. This is the quote that he said that stopped the markets in its tracks, right? Agentic AI inflection point has arrived. Okay, now what does he mean by this? What is agentic AI? Now, to understand what is agentic AI, first we must know and understand where the AI all started from. Okay, what we know of AI when it started was actually ChatGPT. In fact, most people in the world, what they know about AI currently is mainly ChatGPT. When it came out late 2022, when people start using it, and you were like so amazed with that model. So how does classic AI model works, which is what most of us are using on a day-to-day basis, is we use, example, a large language model, or LLM in short, to feed it information, ask questions, research the weather in Japan for me, research the next 7 days weather in Singapore for me. And what this classic AI will do, what this LLM will do, is they'll take this information, they will do the research, and they'll generate you a text from that. That's it. Is think of it like an ad hoc task. And if you continue the conversation, they will only remember what you feed in that conversation before. But will it be something that will last you a long time? It might not be. Okay, and since 2022, we have seen classic AI evolve over time as well. And now image generation is something that even classic AI like GPT can generate very easily. But after classic AI, this simple large language model, what comes next? Agentic AI comes next. This is what Jensen Huang is referring to. It goes way beyond what we already know about AI into the world of Agentic AI. Now, Agentic AI basically is like your 24/7 personal assistant, right? Last time, who only has personal assistant? Only the top person in the company, the CEO or the CEO has a personal assistant. Now, Agentic AI means every single one of us can have a personal assistant right by our fingertips. And this personal assistant do not only work 8 hours, it works 24/7 for you. Literally, just imagine someone that will remember every single thing about you, not missing a single instruction from you, and able to execute any task autonomously based on what you instruct it to do. It can plan, decide, and take action for you on your behalf. So you want to search when to buy the cheapest direct flight to Japan? Agentic AI. You want to search when is the best time to go in camp to buy tickets for the next Blackpink concert? Agentic AI. They will do everything for you, even execute that task, not just finding the information for you so you execute the task on your own. So you can adapt and learn from your own behaviors and interact with the world. So over time, right, it will know every single thing about you and do every single task that all along you thought that you have to do it alone, but actually AI can do it for you. And we are already seeing it happen in real time at this very second. Like in OpenClaw that launched less than a month ago, which is already taking the world by storm. Now everyone is using it to automate everything that they are doing, making them more productive and more efficient. Now this is Agentic AI and it is only going to get better with time. So this is what Jensen Huang is talking about. He is talking about a fundamental shift in how we use AI, in how computers will operate as well. So we are moving from using AI as just a tool to using AI as agents that will act on our behalf. And this shift is what will drive the next decade of silicon demand. So to dive in a little bit in detail, right, for many years, what was the bear thesis for Nvidia? The bear thesis was that once all of these AI models were trained, all these chip demands will fall, right? No one will need it anymore because the AI has already been trained. Now that theory has been proven wrong because what we were in was in this training phase of AI to make each model better than the next. And right now we are transitioning from the training phase to this thing called the inference phase. Now, what is inference in AI terms? Inference is when the model that we apply, it starts to learn patterns based on our own behavior, based on new real-time, real-world data, and because you need to figure out things in real time in much more faster and you need more information and resources, right? The compute power required to run them is going to be significantly higher than what was needed to build them. And if you think about it, what does this mean? It just means that the demand for Nvidia GPU is only going to accelerate. It is not going to go down. It is going to accelerate. And this is what Jensen Huang was referring to. And he specifically called out their one of their best models, the Grace Blackwell, in short for GB architecture, and it's the king of inference. Now, this is one of the most critical takeaway, right? The market was very terrified that the demand will fall off a cliff after the training phase was over. But this Jensen Huang just said the opposite, that this super cycle is not over because running an agentic workforce will require an order of magnitude more compute than we have seen so far. And Nvidia has 90% of market share behind AMD, in front of AMD. AMD has 10% market share. Nvidia is the leader. So for any AI or any company who wants the best model in their services, in what they are providing in their solutions, right, they will have to use Nvidia. And Nvidia remains the only game in town for high performance hardware. Now, not just their GB architecture, right? More than that, what are they doing on top of it? What is next after the GB architecture? Which is their Rubin platform, which was just announced earlier a few months ago, right? The Rubin platform is on track to ramp up and launch back in 2026, in the second half of 2026, okay? And this will be a huge improvement to the current GB architecture, right? And what the management has shared is that early shipments of this Rubin platform has really started. This is the next generation AI platform after Blackwell, and it's not just a chip. It's going to be a full stack platform refresh with whole new GPU architecture and new memory stack. So you can only imagine this. Even after the Rubin platform, this is not the end. It is going to get more and more. There will always be more innovations coming in to fulfill the next wave of demand. And trust me when I say that AI will continue to evolve. I am of the stance that demand will not waver down. In fact, demand will just get more and more as we get more information about how AI can be integrated in our daily lives. Like 3 years ago, everyone can only imagine AI as a tool for us to use to ask our some information. But now, just less than 4 years later, right? Just less than 4 years later, right? It has really evolved into a 24/7 personal assistant. Who knows what will happen in the next 3 years and 4 years with the speed at how AI is moving? All right. But what's the interesting thing? The interesting thing is that despite all of this amazing news, despite all of this beat that we saw, the stock price was muted. The stock price of Nvidia didn't actually move at all. Initially, when the results was first announced, you can see that there was a sudden spike actually right in the middle over here, right? You can see. But after that, throughout the day post market, you can see the price actually closed down, and now after market it barely moved. There was no movement despite all the news that what Nvidia has shared. No, why is this happening? Why is it flat after that earnings? The whole idea is because of market expectations. Because Nvidia has been growing at a super fast rate, like what I shared earlier, the whole market is expecting them to beat and expecting them to raise. So the fact that they didn't move means what? Means that market is expecting a lot more. Market is expecting Nvidia to give out even more stronger results, even more higher bid, and a lot more perhaps new product, new initiative, whatever that can be. And also that perhaps all of this has really been priced in, that Nvidia was really expected to talk about this, they were expected to talk about that. So that's the reason why you can see that there was not a lot of reactions to their earnings, even though it was one of the best earnings in the recent quarters. In fact, every single quarter, the earnings are just getting better and better and better, right? So, and the market has really set an extremely high bar for Nvidia. Think of it like a hurdle, right? And each time, Nvidia barely cross over the hurdle. They always manage to cross over, and sometimes they even beat the hurdle higher. So the market just keeps assigning higher and higher hurdle, and to the point right now where even the hurdle is so high and Nvidia still beats it, the market is not surprised anymore. So this is what we are seeing right now. And what do I think about it? My overall take, right, after looking at their earnings and all the amazing things they have shared and how the share price has moved, I think one thing is for certain is that AI spend is not slowing down. Right, AI spend is only going to increase, especially for all the hyperscalers. Initially, at the start of the year, everyone was increasing their Capex for the year, and everyone started panicking because they were saying that how is the revenue going to come in? Right, they are spending so much on Capex, but we don't see the revenue coming in yet. But I think that as AI continues to evolve, right, we are just going to see who will come out on top. And it's very important for those that want to be in the race, like all the hyperscalers that we see on the Max 7, they will have to spend, and AI spend will continue to increase over the years. And the shift from training to inference, that is something that we are seeing in real time. It's not something that he's saying that is going to come soon. It has actually come, as you can see, for OpenClaw. In fact, there have been many other solutions that have been people have created on top of OpenClaw as well. And Nvidia is still capturing most of the value in the value chain. There is no one close that can provide what they do. The next closest is AMD, and they have 10% market share. So they are the clear leader by thousands and thousands of miles ahead. And the next phase is just going to get better, you know, through their Rubin platform, through the Rubin ecosystem. And it's not only going to be just the GPU chips, okay? And that's why when we look at this hyperscaler Capex, it explode higher, right? This is a necessity. In fact, I will go as far as to say that if any one of these companies, any one of these Max 7 companies, right, if they do not spend on Capex, it is going to be even more concerning than them spending more. Because if they are not spending a lot on Capex, what it means is that they are not in the race anymore, right? Like you see, who is not inside here? Apple is not inside here because Apple is in a way out of the AI race. They are not really an AI company over there. Who is in the running now? It is Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, Amazon. Some would say Tesla, but Tesla is in a way a slightly different industry. So these companies have to spend in order for them to stay ahead and capture the demand down the road. Of course, we will have to monitor, right? We will always have to monitor not just the hyperscalers, not just Nvidia, but the whole AI industry, right? How are the demand? Is the demand dropping? Is the demand increasing? And so far, what we've seen from all the earnings that have been reported is that demand is only increasing and getting stronger from time to time. Now, as to how the market will react when Nvidia opens tonight, that is something that we have to wait and see. It's very hard to say, but what we can see is that the fundamentals are still rock solid. Nothing has changed. In fact, the fundamentals is improving and getting better every single quarter as well. Now, that's all that I have for you for today's stock market digest. In this case, is Nvidia's earnings review. Now, if you enjoy this sort of content, do hit that like and subscribe button, as it will really help me to create more of such content for you. And I'll see you in the next one.